Hi everyone, I'm dedicated to this, so I've decided to go live again because I noticed the previous YouTube video, like everybody was telling me, didn't have good audio. And what was happening is like, I think the mic had an issue. So that's my explanation as to why there's a new live. For those of you who probably tried to use the link that had been sent to you guys before and now got the second link. So I'm going to try and do this. So this time I'm just going to be live on YouTube and try and do this. And hopefully you're going to see this just perfectly as it is. And again, if you join me live and you notice there's an audio issue, just let me know, right? And I can see what to do. But I'm pretty sure this one is quite okay. So I'm really going to rely on those people who watch me live to let me know if this is working out. So I'll just wait a little bit. If you're just joining me, say hi. Comment below. Can you hear me perfectly? Comment if the audio is fine. If the audio has an issue, just comment to me now so that I can be able to see ahead of time instead of going for like a whole hour before you guys notice that the audio has an issue. So I'll just be waiting. I see people coming on, so just let me know if the audio is fine. However, I'm just going to get into it right now, into my topic as I wait for you guys to comment and let me know. So, in this particular one, I am talking about 3 cake decorating secrets that bakers have to know about becoming a cake artist, right? So, that's what I'm talking about in this one. Oh, hi, Sheila. I can now hear you properly. Yay. Thank God, because I was worried there for a minute as to what is happening. Thank you. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just going to continue. Again, if anything happens, feel free immediately. I get a slight delay, but immediately let me know if you cannot hear me and I will adjust whatever it is I need to adjust. Okay. Other than sometimes Wi Fi issues, I think the audio now should be fine. Okay, so my 3 topics: becoming an efficient cake decorator, mastery of multiple frostings and icings, and continuous learning and trend awareness. I will also be sharing a bonus tip. So, for those of you who were here at any one point, you're just going to pretend that this is the first time you're hearing these things. Okay, so who is a cake artist? A cake artist is somebody who doesn't just bake cake, but they turn it into beautiful art. That's a cake artist. That's the difference between a regular baker and a cake artist. You use edible decorations to make amazing cake designs, right? So, as much as some of you may know me, if you do not know me, my name is Maureen Belhakamari, and I am a professional baker, cake artist, and a trainer. I'm a founder and chief trainer at Baking with Amari. I've been doing this for over 12 years, worked in the baking industry since 2008, and I've been training bakers since 2015. I have 3 bakery brands online: Baking with Amari, Chiffon Cakes by Amari, and Baking for Profit. The reason I have those is that I have to segment my niches into 3 separate categories. So, what we do at Baking with Amari is that we offer baking and cake decoration classes, recipe ebooks, and we also periodically do baking for business masterclasses. And we offer both online for those of you who are not able to come to the physical classes. We also offer physical classes in Nairobi. That's at Arcades Discount Mall, shop number 52 on the ground floor, next to the Greenhouse Mall, and that's in the Adams Arcade area. So I'm a passionate baker. I've been in the food industry for a very long time. I decided to pursue my baking passion in 2012 and then later turned it into an income generating activity. And I do that now by teaching individuals to bake, decorate, and I also participate in a lot of baking industry events, including judging competitions, and all that stuff. I learned how to bake when I was in high school, right? From my high school teacher. That's where my passion started a long time. But I attended professional online baking courses between 2010 and 2013 to sort of perfect my decoration. So as you can see, it's been a journey. This was my before in 2008 when I realized I definitely need help. And this is the cakes I was doing. And then over time, between taking the online classes and doing a whole lot of practical practice, this is at least how I was able to switch up and just do better work right now. And I'm still learning, by the way. So again, I conduct external trainings anywhere in Kenya. I also do judging of baking competitions. If we also do staff training, by the way, if you have staff that needs to be trained, if you're doing like cake supply shop or anything to do with baking, and you need your staff to get refreshed or anything to do with baking, we also do staff trainings as well. And I do baking for business masterclasses specifically for home bakers looking to learn specific skills to help them start and grow their businesses. I also MC and do event coordination for baking events specifically, or food events as well. I am proud to be a professional baker and a cake artist. And what I'm going to be doing is kind of sharing secrets to help me grow as a cake decorator. And hopefully, out of hearing that, these secrets are going to help you yourself become a better cake artist and a cake decorator. So the first secret that I share is becoming an efficient cake decorator. And you'll learn over time that this becomes very, very important, especially the more busy you get, right? When you start getting more orders, you have to start figuring out how can I move faster and basically make more money? Because when you're starting, you're only able to decorate one cake in a whole day or two cakes. But sometimes you get to a point where you have 5 cake orders in a day. And so you have to figure out, how do I become very efficient so that I'm making a little bit more money within the one day, right? So I'll be sharing a few tips that I developed and hacks to save time and reduce stress, especially when you have multiple orders. So the first tip that I like sharing with people and my students and anybody who listen is learning to use multiple tools as a cake decorator. So most of you probably start with whipped cream or buttercream or something like that. And so the important thing is actually getting tools that you can be able to decorate those specific frostings, like the soft frostings, that are highly, highly efficient to you, right? So for example, when you're getting started, you probably are going to start with a palette knife, also known as an icing spatula. And you can use a straight one and you can use the offset angled one. But it's also important to have a cake scraper, also known as a bench scraper, as you can see on your screen here, because these two tools by themselves, I used to use the icing spatula by itself. Once I started using the bench scraper, I now kind of use both when I'm decorating to get the best result, right? And this is going to help you get a smooth top and also the sides of your cake, because remember, if you want to be a cake artist, you want very clean, beautiful work. You don't want edges that have a lot of marks or lines, right? So the important thing is to have the knowledge of both tools so that it's easy for you to decorate regular height cakes or even tall cakes. As you can see, these are literally cakes that are being the last two on the left, cakes being done by our students. And since we do tall cakes, they have to learn how to use not only the palette knife, but also scraper. And we share how to share the scraper, the metal one, and the plastic one. Once you learn how to use that, that becomes very, very easy for you to do a lot of your work, and it becomes quite a game changer for you over time. The other tip that I like sharing is pre-batch coloring of your frostings. So of course, when you're getting started, you're probably going to start with whipped cream and buttercream. That's where most people start. And so if you have a cake that has 2 or 3 types of colors, and a lot of them especially are these deep colors like the reds, the greens, the deep purples, please do it beforehand. I have done for an order for buttercream a day before because I wasn't sure if it was going to be the deep red that I was looking for. So I made it the day before. By the time I came to the second day, it ended up being really deep, exactly how I wanted it. And the reason I did that actually is because I think I've done them and it comes out like pink or like a hot pink, and I can't fix it. And then I have to figure out, like, what do I do in these 2 hours to make this buttercream that's hot pink to be a deep red? It can be quite stressful. So what you want to do is, if you know you're going to be decorating various colors for your cake orders, do it a day before. Especially if it is fondant, definitely do that a day before. If you're working on that navy blue, you're working on that, my favorite stressful thing for most bakers is, what is it called? Emerald green, or the deep red or black, right? Make sure you make it 1 or 2 days ahead of time so that it ages and it actually gets that color that you're looking for. So you're not having surprises at the end of the day wondering like, oh my God, what do I do, right? So this is just an example. Like this is a tutorial I actually have on this channel on how to do this mermaid cake. And even when I was doing the particular tutorial itself, I ended up I think I did the colors in the morning and then I ended up doing the tutorial like later in the day. That's because I want to get the specific colors right. I wanted sort of like this, I literally actually wanted this sort of orangish hot pink, peach color, then a purple, and then the aqua at the bottom. Also, the fondant toppers, we did those a day before so that they can set, and so that when we're putting them on the cake and setting it on top, it's not drooping and falling funny. So plan ahead. Like whether it's a tutorial, I'm going to plan ahead. Whether it's an order, I'm going to plan ahead because the colors can give you stress. Even simple colors, which seem like they're simple sometimes, they might end up being more of a headache than you ended up thinking. So make sure you pre-batch before, especially if you know you're getting the type of orders that have multiple colors. Third tip I want to share is learn how to achieve specific colors on cake. So I was talking about this, saying that bakers wait to get the order and then they run around asking people, how do I get this color? How do I get the emerald green? I have an order for tomorrow. Learn how to mix various color combination to achieve certain colors on, especially on softer frostings, but also on fondant icing, right? Like maybe you're looking at this fondant cake and it's red. And I remember I did two things for this particular cake to get it to be this red. First and foremost, I made this frosting, I think 2 days before. Then the ruffles themselves, some are red and some are a little hot pink. And that's because I was trying to have contrasting colors. Then the board itself has a deeper red color, right? And so that just kind of came from adding a slightly deeper shade of red. And so if you want to get these different nuanced colors, especially on things like fondant or buttercream, you have to make them ahead of time. You can't make them the same day and actually get the same results, unfortunately. It's just one of those things that you want to do ahead of time. And so instead of hearing from me and just waiting to get an order and then running 2 days before, do this ahead of time, right? Start going online, search color theory on Pinterest, on Google or ChatGPT, whatever it is you use for search. Look for these charts. Like Pinterest has tons and tons of these charts, like the one you're seeing. Let me blow it up so you guys can see it. They have tons of charts on how to get specific colors for fondant. And before, I actually used to use them all the time, right? I would just like go search online how to get magenta, how to get jungle green or something like that, right? So if you can see this, it's written in small writing, but for example, like yellow, red plus black gives you brown. Please note the size of the fondant. They don't have them the same size. Like if you look at the top one, the yellow is like big. It's a lot of yellow. And then you have a ball size blue and then a pea size black that gives you green. So what they're trying to tell you is that a large amount of yellow, a little bit of blue, and then a dot of black is going to give you this specific green, right? So if you can see, there's true red, there's maroon, there's orange, right? A little bit of red plus yellow gives you orange. And if you keep playing around with that, it gets to the peach. You just have to play around with it over time. Like equal amounts of red and blue are going to give you a very nice purple. And sometimes, like here's another thing that most people don't know. If you're looking for a lilac, like not a deep purple, a lilac, don't do red and blue, do pink and blue. If you do pink and blue, it actually gives you a very nice light kind of purple. And that works for fondant. We've done it for fondant and we've also done it for buttercream. While then before I just used to do red and blue. I think I accidentally found out that pink and blue thing, or one of our instructors shared, and that's how we started doing that. And so it's just kind of one of those things where you have to practice and just like talk to different bakers if you can go to class and just figure out how to do this. And you're able to get these little tips that actually give you the result that you're looking for. So the thing I'll tell you is that it is good to search online, right? But instead of taking my word for it with the pink and blue, go and actually take pink buttercream frosting, add some blue in it, mix it up and see if you'll get that lilac color that I'm talking about, right? Don't only read the things on Pinterest, also start practicing yourself so that you're not running at the end. Like I hate the running at the end so much. I will practice for things I don't even think I'll ever get an order for, just so that I can avoid having to run at the end. Like, oh my God, how do I get the emerald green? I remember emerald green for the longest time was so popular, like from 3 years ago. And every other baker, beginner baker, would just DM me. What do I do? What do I do? And sometimes just playing with the green and just adding on black amounts or navy blue, if you play around with it, it actually gets there. But what happens is that people will run at the end. They're going to ask you when the order is tomorrow, which I never understand, right? So instead of running at the last minute, please start practicing these things ahead of time so that you are ready, right? And I gave this example of like our student who, because February 14th, she's in class that week of Valentine's, and I definitely wanted her to see how to do the red. And she ended up doing 2 shades of red. So we did the first day where it looked like a hot pink. And then we added cocoa powder and then waited the next day. And it ended up being this very, very red thing that really pops, right? And so if she wants to play around with red now, she can go around, play around with how to color it. And she was able to do these roses with this and the rosettes and even fondant. She's actually been able to color her fondant very red, like using a specific. Another thing I tend to share with you is like the different types of food colors, right? So you can test out powder color, you can test out the different brands. Like I'll use something like Sugar Flare Christmas Red on fondant, but I'll never use it on buttercream, right? On buttercream, I'm going to use something like 4R powder food color. So you have to kind of learn what to play around with that works for you, right? And sometimes I'll get tips from bakers that don't work for me, but I'll tweak them and it'll work, right? So you just have to practice beforehand what's going to work out for you over time, and then you're able to get the results you're looking for. So when you get the order, you're so confident that you can actually be able to achieve that, right? And this is something we teach in our 6-month online Cake Artist course. One thing I'll tell you, learn how to achieve colors on cake, learn how to achieve colors on whipped cream, on fondant icing, on buttercream, even on colored ganache. Learn how to do this. Another thing that I really perfected was other options of coloring. So I remember a time where we used to get this particular color called Super Black from, I think it's a Mary color, even though some people say these days that Chef Master is doing a great job. I haven't tried the Chef Master Black, but at some point, Super Black Americolor, I don't know what they did with it. It stopped getting to the black because sometimes you used to use it and it gets to the black. Now it'll get sort of grayish hue. It darkens, but it doesn't really darken to complete black. And so one of the things I started practicing is if it doesn't get to the black, what do I do? And so the first thing I did was learn how to airbrush and get an airbrush, because then I would color the black, it'd be gray, and then I'd come later with like a final coat of black from the airbrush and not get that. But the thing is, you do have to tell your client that, it's going to have that taste, right? Because it's going to be quite bitter. So those are the things you have to practice with and taste that frosting so you can see, okay, I've gotten the black frosting, but how does it taste like? How's my client going to feel once they eat that cake, right? And do I need to tell my client, listen, I can do a black for you, but if I'm doing the black, just know it's going to taste a certain way, right? Whether it's fondant or buttercream. And again, just keep experimenting on the different things. I recently saw something that I actually want to try out, where somebody said that if you color the red and it turns out pink, if you use a fondant steamer on the like buttercream, this is on buttercream, it's going to turn a darker shade. So I'm definitely trying that tutorial out soon. You'll definitely see me posting that soon, right? So one of the things you want to do is get curious all the time. How can I get a deeper color? What other methods can I use? Okay, other than coloring black, can I airbrush? Can I paint? Can I fondant steam? What do I have to do to get the color that I'm looking for? So you have to kind of keep a curiosity with yourself and also try out different things so that you're able to achieve these colors when it actually calls for it. Like, for example, when you have an order, right? And I like mentioning this because it's the truth. That's how I learned, by the way. A lot of these online courses that I took, I picked up tips that I never would have picked up by myself. One of the fastest ways to learn a lot of these tips is to attend class. And it's 2 ways. One, to attend class because the instructor who is going to share this, right? I share the tips I know with my student, or whoever taught you. I'm sure they've shared tips with them. The point is, because I have the experience, or because that person has the experience, they're going to share the things they know. So if you learned something from someone, you can keep reaching out to them like, hey, I know we didn't cover this, but do you know what I can do to make this deeper or to make this lighter, right? They can keep offering support to you even after class to share some of these tips, which I do, even if you came to class 2 years ago. So you want to make sure you get guidance from someone. And if you know a senior baker, like you've been baking for 2 years, this baker has been baking for 10 years, you can see how to connect with them, whether it is just, paying a session to go connect with them and see how you can get tips from them that are going to just jumpstart you. Like it took them 10 years to learn. You're just going to learn in one day, right? So some of the times signing up for these classes kind of help you out because of this. Now, the other thing I want to showcase is that we definitely do this for our courses. The second secret that I want to share with you guys is mastery of multiple frostings and icings, right? You need to master this. So different cakes and designs require different frostings. Knowing your frostings is absolutely a must as a cake artist. You have to know the different frostings. I will be surprised when I meet somebody who says they've been a baker for a while. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been a baker for 5 years. And then I'll mention something like ganache and they don't know what I'm talking about, which is always interesting to me, right? Like, how have you been baking for years? Even if you haven't made it, at least know about it, right? At least know about it. And so what I want to tell you is that if you can, do the best that you possibly can to master multiple frostings. Don't be just the person who does whipped cream or just the person who does buttercream, right? Not only perfect your butter and sponge cake making, learn how to level, crumb coat, apply a second coat, and decorate a final cake design using at least 3 types of frostings. I am always telling people this. We don't have the same type of customer. You can have customers in your bakery that are 10, and each of them have different tastes when it comes to their designs and the frostings. And so you can't chase 9 customers away because I only know how to do the one thing. The important thing is to learn how to do the different soft frostings like buttercream and whipped cream and ganache and fondant and possibly royal icing, so that when you encounter all these customers, you're able to adjust it and make the cake that you want for them. So what type of skills do you need? This is something I truly believe after being in the industry long enough, that these are the skills you need to be a successful cake artist. Number 1, you have to have basic cake decoration skills. And this means leveling cakes, crumb coating, applying a second coat of frosting, basic cake borders, and writing. This is something by the time you're leaving our cake decoration class, you at least know how to do that, right? You also should be able to make all the frostings that you've learned in the correct texture, glaze, buttercream, whipped cream, and royal icing at least, right? You also need intermediate skill levels, which are these: how to make whipped ganache, how to make fondant. You may not use it all the time, but there is instances where you're gonna need to use it, right? You also need to have proper cake structure and doweling. You should be able to stack at least 2-tier cakes, be able to decorate tall cakes, right? 3 or 4 cake layers, or barrel cakes, sometimes they're called. You should be able to use various toppers. And when I say that, I mean, if you're using edible print on whipped cream, you should know how it behaves. If you're using edible print on buttercream, you should know how that behaves. If you're using edible print on fondant, you know how that behaves, right? You see that? So you need to be able to use all those. Even if you're buying basic sugar flowers, you should be able to make basic sugar flowers yourself, right? And also even something as simple as, how do I safely use real flowers on cake? You should be able to do that, right? So remember, regardless whatever niche you pick, like you might decide, I'm just going to do soft creams for my orders. I'm always telling people, you will find your skills overlap. We only do whipped cream for our chiffon cakes. But if somebody wants a unicorn cake, we're not going to chase them away. We will make the unicorn ears and the unicorn horn and the eyes, right? And like for this cake design you see here, we needed to do a number 4 with a cookie. Like the customer literally asked for a cookie that is the number 4. And so we did the number 4 and I put the fondant on top. Sometimes you have to find ways to write with fondant instead of writing with the whipped cream, and you have to learn how to use fondant. If it's airbrushing, maybe somebody wants a specific design like you're seeing at the bottom over here. And the best way to get this design is to airbrush some yellow and some orange on top. So over time, as much as you may want to stick to one thing, you need to at least understand how to do the different things so that you're able to execute on somebody's order and they're happy. Why? Because they will come back and they keep ordering cakes from you. So out of my experience, this is literally how I realized that I have to learn multiple frostings. I'm literally going to explain how it happened. First and foremost, I learned how to make American buttercream frosting only. I didn't know anything else. Then I realized that there's people who don't like American buttercream frosting because it's too sweet. So I had to learn how to use whipped cream frosting. After that, I had to make sure that I'm able to apply a cake, do borders, pipe flowers, and write using those two. Out of that, and by the way, I started by selling banana bread. That means I had zero decorating skills. After that, I had to learn how to do rolled fondant because people started asking for designs that need fondant. So I had to make the fondant icing. I actually learned how to make marzipan and also modeling chocolate. But those two ended up being more expensive in this market. So I decided to focus on fondant. And out of that, I was able to start doing custom cakes, wedding cakes, that kind of thing. After that, I realized I have to make ganache. And this came from somebody asking for a specific filling, a mousse filling. And then me getting into like a class where they were teaching the different ganache types, which was whipped or truffle ganache, mousse ganache, and glazed ganache. So I was able to crumb coat a cake or decorate a cake with a whipped ganache. I could do the filling, which is the mousse. And also there's a time that the chocolate drip, I guess it's still in style, but it was really huge. So I also learned how to do the glazed ganache to do the drip on top. After that, and all of this always comes from like, I have to learn something because I have to do something with it. I was working on stencils. And when I was working on stencils, I was working on them like with airbrush and gel color. Like I would paint the gel color on that. Then I realized I have to figure out royal icing because how am I going to put this stencils on there for specific patterns? And so I learned how to do the royal icing with the various consistency. I actually even learned how to do the 2 second or the 10 second for the cookies. But overall, I learned how to do the flooding, medium, and stiff consistencies. And that allows me to be able to decorate a cake with royal icing, pipe a cake and write borders. And I can also use the royal icing for the stencils, right? And so that makes it very easy when you're doing stencil on fondant. After that, people started asking for designs that had flowers in them. People also wanted to learn how to do them. So again, I took a class that had to do with sugar craft, making flowers, and I also actually went and took a physical class on how to make figurines. And so I started being able to make freehand flowers and even wired flowers so that I'm able to decorate cakes. And actually, out of that, I was able to get into a different type of medium, which is wafer paper, for creating flowers as well, which is a great alternative to something like gum paste or fondant, right? And so after that, again, I continue and I learned and I still continue to learn how to use other tools and other edible decorations, right? For example, the airbrushing I was talking about, using rice paper to make sails, using wafer paper to create multiple decorations, using melted chocolate to do something like shards or chocolate cages, using isomalt sugar to make the sails or edible lace, just different things. At some point, I was making edible fabric using the printing paper, right? The paper people use actually to print edible photos. And so what happens is that it's usually out of necessity, like some order or something will push you to actually learn. What happens with a lot of people, they get afraid and they don't learn. And so for me, what I do is I actively seek out that knowledge because I know I'm going to need it later, whether it's for an order or for a class or for a tutorial I'm doing, right? So you need to do the same, especially if you want to start getting these more premium clients. You have to learn how to do this. And so I would suggest doing the same thing. The same way I just kind of hungered for that knowledge and just started looking for these ways of making this. As you can see, this is some of the projects I've done with all those things that I've talked about, right? So it's just having that sort of will to learn so you can continue doing this. And this is something I tend to make sure that our students are learning, especially if they're coming from multiple classes, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I want my students to be able to do whipped cream, fondant, and buttercream, right? So as you can see, the alumni on the left, that's a whipped cream cake with edible prints and some paper toppers that are not edible. We have the middle alumni where she does a lot of fondant, and she came and did a specific specialized course on how to make fondant and use it to make things like this basket you can see she's made. And then we have the alumni at the end who, this is literally on the left, a whipped cream cake, and on the right, a buttercream cake, right? So by learning those things, she didn't even learn these designs in class, but because she learned how to use this toppers and the tools and everything, she's able to put together an order using the skills that she learned. So how do you do these yourself? Take a class with a professional who knows what they're doing and has the experience on using all those frostings that I've talked about. And what's that's going to help you is you'll learn, you'll practice, and you're going to keep asking for tips and you're going to keep asking for help. So if you can, the best way to learn, of course, is hands-on. But if you're not able to learn hands-on, take an online course that's in depth, that's going to give you that meat. Yeah, it's going to give you that extra learning and capacity to be able to keep practicing. So the third secret, right, that cake decorators need to embrace is continuous learning and trend awareness. And those two go together. I know a lot of bakers who hate following trends. My thing is not always do every trend. Just keep an eye on what's trending, because if you're selling to people, your clients are also keeping an eye on those trends. Most trends do well because clients fuel the trends. So when a client sees the burn away cake, they want to do one. They want to order one. There is a time there was these number cakes that were so big. I think people were using cookies and some people were doing cake. And it was such a big trend. It didn't even last. I think it went for a couple of months. But for the longest, that period of time, bakers were getting people ordering those specific types of cakes. So it's like the fashion industry. You have to kind of keep an eye on what people are looking for so that when they ask you, you can either tell them, yes, I can do it, or tell them, hey, no, I can't do it. And they're going to go find another baker who can do it. So remember that even if you're not doing it, somebody else is getting that order. So the cake decorating world, constantly evolving. Staying up to date keeps you relevant, right? And I'm going to share some of the ways I stay up to date, and then I'll share how you can start staying up to date that's helpful for you, right? So the first main way that I stay up to date is social media accounts. So I use Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook sometimes. Not often, but it happens, right? And what happens is that with these platforms, even for those people who are not into social media, I didn't tell you to go on social media and listen to social media stuff. Go and use social media as a tool. Don't use it for negative things. Just use it as a tool to learn something, or a tool that helps you listen to what people are doing, what bakers are doing, and also what people are requesting, right? So just to give you examples of how you can do this. I'll give you examples of how you can do this. The second way that I keep in touch is industry newsletters. So I'm a newsletter kind of person. I love getting newsletters on email. And so I actively search out newsletters, not just in the baking industry, but also in the business industry and also like in the social media industry, because I market my business. So I'm always looking for newsletters that are giving me information that help me increase my skills as a baker and also as a bakery owner, or an owner of a business. Third way is enrolling in online courses. And I've told you guys from 2010 till 2018, I did this. Any technique that I needed to learn, especially like something that was very, very specific, I would take a course. And most of the time I was just taking online professional courses. Then I would take hours and hours practicing whatever it is I need to learn so that I can get better at it, because I did have foundational knowledge, but I didn't have this extra stuff. And if something pops up, like how to do specific types of flowers, that's not something you're taught in a foundational class. So what happens is that you have to figure out how to learn how to do this. And that's why I would take the courses. Now, I may not take the baking courses now, but I still take courses on business. If I need to learn something that is related to my business, I'm going to take the course because it's important to learn. So you need to do the same. Another thing that I do this is doing experimentation by myself, right? So if a new medium has come out and there's no course for it, I'm going to experiment on how to use it. Is it wafer paper? Is it sugar sheet? I'm going to do the experiments to see how it works, right? And so that's exactly what you can do. You don't even have to do it exactly as I do it, but that kind of gives you somewhere to start with. With most people always like, how do you know what's trending? I'm just online. And even if it means taking 30 minutes each day online to see what's happening, you can do that, right? Go on Pinterest, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, go on TikTok, and just kind of search out something and see what's happening. So my two examples are usually either search for a specific trend, watch the trend. If you like how that person does it, you can follow the person who shared the trend. Especially if you go to your account and you see that every month or every week they're sharing new stuff that's really helpful, follow that person. Or you can search and follow bakers that you admire, people who you've been seeing their work and you think they do a good job. Some of them don't even have to be explaining what they're doing, but you can see that they're doing trending cakes now. So you can follow them to kind of see, hey, what's trending right now, right? So this is my favorite example. I just kind of want to give you examples of different platforms. And this is a experiment I did on Sunday. I literally went and screenshotted these. And so this is up-to-date information. So I went to Pinterest, the app. You can go to the app or you can go to Pinterest.com and you can just search whatever. So if you can see at the top where there's a purple arrow, it says cake top forward tutorial. So that was my search. So this first image is actually the first frame of my search. And basically I just scroll down. As you can see all these cake top forward versions. And you can actually see this brown one with the orange flower. That's a tutorial we did some time back. Same here. Actually, I scrolled down and I found another of our Pinterest images. So we do post on Pinterest. Feel free to follow. So you can actually go and search. If you don't want to follow people, search trending topics on Pinterest and you're going to see what's trending. And if you can see, there's not one design. There's different designs. There's hexagon cake top forward. There's somebody who's put a cake top forward on top of a regular cake. So you're able to kind of see what people are posting and what people are doing in that particular social media. The second place you can go to is YouTube. YouTube is one of the best places to go and search for tutorials or something that's more in-depth. We ourselves tend to share a lot of these tutorials. So if you have the app or you go to youtube.com, as you can see up top here, I have typed burn away cake. I didn't even have to finish. Once I typed, YouTube shows you the trending searches that is sort of close to what you're searching for. So I just clicked on burn away cake tutorial. The second clip here, you can see where there's a purple arrow. If you search that and you keep scrolling, you're going to see our own tutorial on how to do the burn away cake. It's one of our trending tutorials on YouTube. And so as you can see, if you see the one above that, it says how to make a double burn away cake, right? So there's different ways of doing this burn away cake and people are sharing this. So if you don't know how to do something, just go on YouTube. And out of that, if you please, of course, you want to subscribe to us. But at the same time, if you find that you like whatever this other person is doing, and you see that they tend to do a lot of tutorials, you can choose to follow them as well for more tutorials. Now, if you're on TikTok, I'm giving you multiple platforms in case you tell me, oh, I'm on TikTok, I'm not on YouTube. On TikTok, go search the app, download the app if you don't have it. TikTok is also very great with searches, actually, interestingly enough. Sometimes when I want simple recipes, I'll actually go on TikTok. So if you go on TikTok and search Bible cake with round cake, like if you want to do a Bible cake or a book cake, but you don't have the book pan. So what we're searching for is what do I do if I only have round cakes or I only have round pans? And again, on the right here, these are like the top 6 results that I got for the Bible cake with round cake. If you can see the purple arrow you're seeing here, this is actually our TikTok, one of our trending TikToks. That and I was basically sharing how to do the base of a book cake if you don't have the pan. And again, because people are always searching this, it keeps trending for us because it is one of those searched items. If you're those Instagram people and you're looking for, let's say, for example, money roll cake. Now, we've done a money roll cake, but not on Instagram. I mean, I think we did one, but it was a long time. Instagram really shows you based on the recency. So if you search money roll cake, as you're seeing where my purple arrow is there, you're going to see all I did was get reels. Actually, the top, I think, section is just reels sharing different ways of doing money roll cakes. And what was interesting to me was there was multiple ways of doing the money roll cake, right? There's the one that's inside the cake. We also have a tutorial for that. But at the same time, there's also like the bouquets with the flower and the money. So it'll show you different things and you can click on the thing that you want and you can be able to do that, right? So when it comes to social media, I have shown you 3 platforms on what you can do. Just go onto the platform, search whatever it is you're looking for. If you like the creator, follow them, right? On Pinterest, follow them on YouTube, follow them on TikTok, follow them on Instagram, whichever platform that you prefer yourself. Second thing you can do is search out industry newsletters. Now, this is only for those people like newsletter. If you're not a newsletter person, you don't have to do that because you actually get them in your email and you don't want your email flooded with stuff you don't want to read. So go on to, like, you can literally do a Google search on bakery newsletters or bake newsletters. I actually subscribe to one called Bake, Bake, and you can just subscribe to them. And if you don't like what they're doing, you can always unsubscribe later. But that's one of the ways that you're able to keep, and especially when it comes to the baking industry itself, with like running a bakery and all that stuff, there's a lot of bakery newsletters, and I'm looking to get mine going as well. And when I do, I'll definitely share with you people. So you can start following newsletters that give you the information you need. A lot of them will share trending things. So this is a screenshot. The first two images right here under the newsletters is a screenshot of the of the newsletter that I actually subscribe to. And I want you guys to check this out. As you can see, they kind of share industry news. Now, it's not of this region, of course, but I still kind of, pick up tidbits from that. And so they'll share like different things from, I think I'm actually signed up for a South African newsletter, and then one from the UK, one from the US. And what happens is that they share what they're doing there. And I feel like when you're able to see what people are doing around the world, you're also able to get inspiration yourself. Now, the second two images is the newsletter that we actually started in 2023 but didn't continue. Hopefully, we will get that back. And so, what I was trying to do is share tips for the industry, but also over time, kind of start picking up trends that we're seeing in the Kenyan market. So if I definitely continue doing that, I will let you people know so that you can sign up. So the other way you can stay up to trend or up to date with these things is enrolling in specialized hands-on practical courses or specialized online courses. When I say specialized, I technically mean a class that has one topic, like fondant only, figurines only, sugarcraft only, cake only, a specific type of cake. You want to sometimes seek out some of these courses because you might have the knowledge, but you don't have this particular knowledge. So if you see other bakers or even ourselves offering these courses, enroll in these courses because they'll help you out. Like an example is I did an online course. It was a 4-week basic, very basic online fondant course for just people who struggle making their fondant and placing it on cake. And it was so simple, but it helped a lot of people just be able to make the fondant recipe and place it on a cake. They do other cake orders. They just don't know that one thing. So keep an eye out for some of these things because they're going to help you just kind of increase the skills over time. And just to give an example of like my main business, what we do is we offer practical classes. Our focus is on specialized 5-day one-on-one courses. We have group courses and we have longer courses, but our most popular ones are very specific, like people wanting to learn 5 days of a specific topic. So these are two examples. We have a beginner fondant basics class. We also have like a wedding cake mastery class, and you just come for the 5 days. All right, guys. I'm more like a connectivity issue. So let me see if I can connect. All right, cool. All right. I think you should be able to see this clearly now. So this is an example of one of our students who came for the 5-day beginner fondant, and she knew how to do birthday cakes using whipped cream and buttercream. But her problem was making fondant from scratch and decorating a cake with it. And she'd actually tried out different other places where she hadn't gotten results. And so she came for 5 days and she practically just wanted to learn how to make the fondant from scratch by herself with a good recipe and then decorate the cakes. And as you can see, not only was she able to do it, she was able to practice. In the final sessions, she did everything by herself. She made her own fondant and she was able to practice. She even got to learn how to do some of the extra stuff, like how to make bows, how to make the lily flowers, how to use fondant steamers. She even learned how to make whipped ganache to be able to decorate on the cake. And as you can see, she was very happy with the class. So sometimes you may not have all the knowledge and you just want to learn the one thing. And I'm a very big supporter of just getting a class for that specific thing that you're trying to learn so that you're able to go to the next step. Here's an example of our student Salam, who literally wanted to do a wedding in a month, came for a 5-day class on cake stacking and wedding cakes, learned some extra stuff, like she learned how to airbrush, how to make wired flowers, how to do stencils, edible lace. She did even like the little ball toppers, how to make the rice paper. And her final project was actually a 3-tiered cake that she did by herself with the flowers, right? And then after she came to class, she actually practiced weeks after. And then she sent me this picture of the wedding cake she had done that she'd been able to actually stack up by herself, get good structure. She did the rice paper sales you can see on there, and she was actually able to make the fondant and place it on the cake, right? And so this is a case of somebody who was doing beautiful birthday cakes by herself, but just didn't know how to take it to the next level. So sometimes you just need to sign up for either a practical hands-on course, or you can take like a specific online course, or even just join our in-depth 6-month online program if you find that for sure you need a lot of help. When it comes to trend awareness, I would also tell you to experiment with different mediums. So the classes are great, but the final thing is that you can't forever take classes. So the next best thing would literally be to start experimenting yourself, right? When you see some new trend, you can actually go online. Most people will share these trends on YouTube. So like this is an example of a couple of years ago, these two trends were quite big: sugar sheet and edible fabric. And we still have those YouTube tutorials with the ingredients in this channel. You can just go scroll down or just search sugar sheet tutorial and you'll see it. Like we have a playlist for cake decoration. You can just go and check that out after this. And you can be able to make it yourself. The reason why this is important is that you may not use the whole thing for our order, but you can find that if somebody's looking for a specific texture for cake, because you know how to make edible fabric, you can tell that person, listen, I can do this order. It's going to cost you this much, but you know that you know how to make that fabric at the end of it, right? So if you're wondering, how do I get into trends? Do I just get into all the trends? No, don't get into all the trends. What I would suggest is look at the niche you're in or the niche you want to be known for, and then look at what's trending in that niche. So if you're one of the beginner levels and you only deal with like buttercream and whipped cream, look at the different flavor fusions people are trying out. Look at the different fillings people are trying out. Maybe look at the different products that are trending, right? Is it cafe mocha? Is it Oreo cake, right? Is it lemon blueberry? Is it lotus biscoff? At some point, I think lemon raspberry was doing the rounds. Whatever it is, look at what people are doing. Sometimes the trend is not the decoration. Sometimes the trend is the filling and the final result. Like the lotus biscoff, it's not extremely complicated. It's just a specific type of product in which you're using the product as a filling and as a glazed drip and also for garnish, right? And so you want to start getting into the thing that's closest to you or the next up from your niche so that you can practice with that and be known for it. And if you're in the custom cake scene, you can start looking at rolled icing. Do I get into rolled icing? Do I take a class on how to make wired flour so I can start doing these sort of themed. Maybe you want to get into wedding cakes and you want to start doing something like sugarcraft. So look at the thing you want to get into and start experimenting in that particular vertical if you want to sort of step up your game. So before I share my final point when it comes to the costing and pricing, I want to mention that we have an in-depth 6-month online course that we are doing an intake, and the intake should probably be coming to an end either this week or next week. And that's because the course actually has two elements: the course content itself, but also the support that goes with it. Because I really like walking with you as you do this course, and I want to see you doing the work. And so I just do intakes like every 3 months or every 4 months, actually every 6 months, so that I'm able to go step by step with you. So the course content is actually still available. You can actually enroll right now and actually get access to the content. However, I'm doing a 2-day flash sale for anybody who wants to enroll between today and tomorrow. The course itself is 10,000 shillings, and you get access from literally 180 days, so 6 months from when you purchase it. If you are not a Kenyan customer, it's $99 for the course. Lots of topics covered in this. We do butter and sponge cakes. We learn how to do decoration of American buttercream frosting, whipped cream. You do the classics like Death by Chocolate, Black Forest cake, red velvet, cream cheese, all that stuff. You also learn the current trending cake styles like the tall cakes, cake decoration toppers like the rice paper and the wafer paper, and also flavor fusions. I cover Lotus Biscoff, lemon, blueberry. I cover the cafe mocha. I also do a salted caramel. So you also learn how to do cake support, like how to stack the 2-tiered cakes. I also have bonuses there, like how to do the ganache, fondant decoration. I think I even have a bread and a cookie class in there for anybody who wants to learn how to do bread and cookies. Part of this course is how to start and run an online cake business and how to cost and price your cakes. There is a tool I developed, an AI pricing tool that you can use once you enroll in this class. It's like in a 6th module there, once you learn how to bake and decorate. And you get to learn how to cost and price with this tool, and also how to like create a menu for your business, how to market, how to brand, all that stuff. So tons of lessons. There's over 100 lessons in this online course, over 22 hours, right? Of course, each course it doesn't have like 1 hour. It's like 30 minutes or 15 minutes or 8 minutes, so that it's not overwhelming. The course runs in a separate site, like our separate site where you get an account and you access the video so you can watch them anytime. You just need to make sure you have internet connection, PC, smartphone, or a laptop. We also give support using a Facebook group and also a WhatsApp group. So the WhatsApp group is just posting what you're doing in there and for announcements. And then the private Facebook group is when I want to go live and I want to explain something or answer a question that somebody has asked specifically. If you want to enroll in this course, you have to be able to commit at least 2 days. That's 10 hours in a week to practice the class sessions, because it's a lot of content. If you don't practice, you're going to get lost. The 2-day flash sale is available until midnight, February 26th, 2,000 off. So instead of 10,000, you're going to pay 8,000 shillings if you enroll between today and tomorrow. $80 for non-Kenyan payments. You can DM on WhatsApp. I'm going to share the link down below for you to see. And I just want to share, this is people who enroll in August. And as you can see, these are some of the results that they're able to get. But I will mention, we do have people who don't practice in the class. So these are results from people who actually practice. If you sign up for the course and you are committed, you're actually able to get results such as this after practicing and after learning from this course, right? So does it work? Yes, it does. And some of these students are continuing in the class and they continue doing the courses and posting a lot of their work. So if you are committed to learning and you're going to do the practice, definitely enroll in this course. And just to go through quickly some of the topics that are covered, as you can see, the introduction in module 1 has basic stuff, right? Butter cakes, vanilla, chocolate, marble, carrot, lemon, banana bread, and muffins. Module 2 has the classics, right? Rich cakes, chocolate, fudge, red velvet, light fruit cake, and rich fruit cake. And we start getting into costing and pricing. Module 3 has how to bake. sponge cake. So we get into the sponge cake module where we are talking about how to do just the basic sponge cake, like a biscuit, chiffon cake, how to start making whipped cream frosting, how to decorate a black and white forest, non-dairy cream, dairy cream. Module 4 is all about buttercream, how to make it, how to decorate simple cakes, how to decorate the vintage cake design, and even how to decorate a 1 kg 2-layer cake. Module 5 gets into more advanced sponge cakes like angel food cake, genoise, Swiss roll, tall sponge cake, right? How to decorate a watercolor design. We start getting into rice paper and wafer paper, and how to dowel a 2-tier cake. Module 6 is all about how to start a home baking business. So basically how to pick a niche, what is a niche, target market, how to test out your product. I also introduced how to use our AI calculator tool with a step-by-step instruction, how to create your menu, how to create your brand, how to start digital marketing for your business. Module 7 now gets into flavor fusions, red velvet with cream cheese, death by chocolate, then cafe mocha, lemon, blueberry, lotus biscoff, salted caramel, pina colada, and Oreo cake. Then the final module is about fondant, how to actually make the fondant, cover round and square cakes. Also, I'll share how to decorate a gift box design, and then finally how to stack a 2-tiered cake and actually do a 2-tiered cake with buttercream and a 2-tiered cake with fondant. Then there's also the bonus with the bread and cookie making and also ganache, right? And costing and pricing. Now, my final tip for you when it comes to costing and pricing is something people never really think about, right? Remember, beautiful cakes are great, but you got to make income. If you're a cake artist, you're probably selling your cakes. So understanding costing and pricing is essential. So my personal experience, this bonus that I'm sharing, is something I've observed and seen in other bakers and myself. You should work towards pricing for premium customers. You may not start there, but you should work towards there. So if you're a beginner, don't be discouraged. Work towards there. If you've been doing this for a while, start thinking about doing it, right? Why? When you do your actual costing, the one number that actually makes or breaks your business is the number of cakes sold per month. People call it different things. Minimum number of cakes, sales assumptions. If you're getting started in costing, I call them sales assumptions. To put this simply, the more cakes you sell, the cheaper it is to bake them or to produce them. The less cakes you sell per month, the more expensive it is to run your business. So if you look at those two things, what should you do? You should sell more cakes. But for you to sell more cakes, what do you have to do? You have to market your brand. More people have to know about you so that more people are buying from you. Now, of course, more is good, right? It's important to have 10, 20, 30 cakes that you're selling per month. However, if you've been in the industry for a while, you're going to realize something. Selling more cakes cheap doesn't help you. So the next best thing is selling more cakes at a higher price. At this stage, when you've gotten so good at decorating your cakes or baking your cakes, you can start choosing to compete with value instead of down here with quantity and price. To give you an example, if I look at Baker A, let's say I start saying I only want to sell 4 cakes a month. Each of my cakes that I'm selling is 5,500. Why? Because I have high quality cakes and I have somebody who is buying them because they know they have high quality cakes. So if you look at that, my 4 cakes that I'm selling at 5,500 is going to be 22,000 shillings per month. Okay, so another baker is new. They can't be able to sell 5,500. They don't even have the confidence to sell that much. So they're selling 1 cake at 1,500. And so currently they're selling 8 cakes a month. If you look at that math, they're making sales of 12,000. So they're doing more work than me and they're making less money than me. Right? So over time, you need to realize that you need to work smarter yourself. Stop focusing on price sensitive customers. Those people are looking for the supermarket cakes. They're not looking for quality. They want something that's mass produced for the masses because it's cheaper. So you need to start looking for somebody who's not looking for that cake. Look for somebody who's looking for premium, high quality custom cakes instead. Right? So my point to you is moving your mindset from a baker to a cake artist. Start working smarter. When you're working smarter, you have more creativity, you're more artistic, You have high quality cake, which means you can charge more for those cakes. And then also, don't look for people looking for cheap cakes. Start looking for people who are looking for those high quality cakes. So if I choose that I don't want to be so busy, I can just charge my cakes more, but then I just need to do 4 or 5 cakes a month and I'm good to go, right? I can choose to chase that particular segment, which can work, and it has worked for a lot of people. Now, how does that work out for you? Well, you have to build a brand around your signature style. You have to build a brand around your personalized service. For you to attract this type of clients, you have to actually build a brand, right? That's how people end up charging more, because they're known for something. You'll notice people talk about being known for something. Even these luxury brands that we talk about, people pay more for a Louis Vuitton bag as opposed to just a bag you found in a thrift store because of the brand. Half the time, most of the things are the same. People are just buying for that brand, right? So does this work? Yes. Many people, like a lot of Kenyan bakers, have done this. I myself have done this. African bakers have done this. International bakers have done this. We all know the Cake Boss, right? If some of you might know somebody called Yolanda Gamp, or what is this? I forgot her channel, How to Cake It, right? She made a name for herself by just doing these epic, crazy cakes, right? So did the Cake Boss. And so if you want to do that, you just need to look around. Kenyan bakers are doing it too, in different counties, by the way. I know a baker in Nakuru. I know a baker in, where is Kitale, who does it. There's different types of people who are charging higher for their cakes because they have higher skill level. So you just have to decide that the trajectory you want to take it. Is it easy? No. Like most good things, it's going to take time, skills, discipline, and commitment. It is going to be more difficult, but over time, it's going to be worth it, because you're going to separate yourself from the bakers down here who are still going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It won't change. If you just stay as a baker down here, you're just going to be competing on price. And what happens within those 5 years is you get tired of competing on price. You're just tired of this grind every day where you feel like you're never making enough money, right? So for you to be able to do that, you have to not only get those skills, the cake decorating skills I was talking about in the tips, but you also need the business skills. You need to learn how to cost and price accurately and properly. You need to know how to market and sell your products. You also need to know how to create a brand for yourself so that you're able to push these sales. How do you do this? Again, if you don't know how to decorate and bake properly, get a class with a professional cake artist. Get the knowledge from them, and then understand how to the thing in practice. If you're getting into especially learning how to bake, please learn from somebody who has the experience and also believes in supporting you after, right? You don't want the people who are like, come for class, pay again. Get support so that you're able to keep asking questions even after that. And this is something we provide for both our practical classes and our 6-month online course. Not only do we give you support in between, like during the class, we're also going to give you support after the class. So again, don't forget, we have a 2-day flash sale. If you're not already in the class, or if you need the skills and you're thinking of enrolling in the class, please enroll. It's going to be $8,000 only until tomorrow. DM, there's going to be a WhatsApp link at the bottom to DM so that you can get those details. Just mentioning, we also have other resources like recipe ebooks that you can purchase. Again, you can just reach out for the full list of things that we have. I hope this has helped you guys out. At least it's given you clarity on exactly what you need to work on, especially if you're a cake decorator looking to be a cake artist. Some of the tips, hopefully they've helped you be able to plan yourself, make yourself more efficient, be trend aware over time, and just be well prepared so that you're not running at the end to be able to solve your problems. Make sure to watch the next video on YouTube, right? So don't leave, just go find another YouTube video of ours. Make sure you watch. We have tutorials posted on this. We have baking recipes posted on here and other business stuff as well. Make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe. And I will see you guys the next time. Remember to make sure you follow us in other channels like YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. I think the only one we're not on is Snapchat. So if you watch this later, feel free to comment and leave your remarks. And I hope this has helped you. Bye, guys.